tuned. Once again, it's Kennard, Vernon, and Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking to Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Okay, so the football season is in full effect. It's going to happen. COVID-19 couldn't stop the show. So here we are with Auburn versus Kentucky taking place tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Now, a great footnote is the fact that the last time Kentucky came to Auburn, they actually beat Auburn back in 2009. Auburn has played away with them a couple of times after that. So here's a couple of storylines that I want to talk about before I do the prediction. Number one, I think, Terry Wilson is a very good athlete. I watched him on film all day today because I was actually off work today. He is a very good athlete. Hopefully he can recover fully from his injury to be an impactful player in the SEC that he was back in 2019. Didn't play much in 2020 because he went down with the injury. But I think Terry Wilson is a very good quarterback. One thing I notice about Terry Wilson is on the deep ball, just like Bo Nix, he sometimes overshoots it, but every now and then he connects. So we're going to see how Terry Wilson will translate with a whole different set of offensive schemes that we have not been able to see because he was injured last year. What's Terry Wilson going to do? Now, number two, the thing that I really like about the Auburn Tigers is the fact that although you're missing Marlon Davidson and Derek Brown, but what a lot of people don't really take into account of is the fact that the reason why Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson were really effective was because of the fact that they were able to be diverse because of two guys in the middle. That's Quentin Miller, Tyrone Truesdale. Those guys in the middle allowed Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson to move up and down the line of scrimmage. As a matter of fact, I think Marlon Davidson and Derek Brown owed those guys some money because they actually made it possible for their stock to go up in the NFL draft. You can take that however you want to, but that's the realization of that. Auburn has a lot of stuff going on, especially with the depth chart. And, you talk about Jalen Simpson is going to be a starting cornerback. You talk about the fact that Kobe Wooten, listed at 268 pounds, is going to be at the defensive tackle. It's a lot of stuff going on in that regard. Kentucky returns a great deal of talent on their side of the football field. 15 starters off of an 8-5 season. A lot of unknowns here. But as we look at this, Kentucky has to come down to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Yes, Kentucky doesn't have to contend with the crowd noise. Plus, you talk about a 12 o'clock game. Even if there was full capacity, the 12 o'clock games at Auburn really are not that loud anyway. Now, if Kentucky had to take on Auburn at night with a full capacity, it's an absolute wrap. Kentucky has no way to win this particular football game. The biggest question I have, too, is because of the lack of passing production from last year, you talk about Bowden, who was the quarterback. He contributed for most of the offensive production. There was literally no real formidable passing game that we can account for. So that's going to be a factor as well. And then you talk about the Auburn Tigers. I think they're going to be pretty good on the defensive front, pretty good at the linebacker position. We thought in 2019, and it actually showed in fruition, the fact that the linebackers were able to cover the boundary, especially with Owen Papo, KJ Britt, and Zacoby McClain. So here's the deal. This is going to be a really good football game, at least through the middle of the third quarter. But let's look at this from a realistic standpoint. A lot of the Kentucky fans says that the stars don't matter, but no, they do. Auburn has really recruited well over the last couple of years, and it's starting to really come to fruition. Especially, this is the year that I wanted to see how well Auburn has recruited. It's prediction time, guys. So, first game of the year. We've gotten through the pandemic. Auburn has recruited well on both sides of the football field, especially at the skill position level, and has continued to stockpile at the defensive line and also at the linebacker position, especially with Wesley Steiner and Romello Height. I think when we go into this game tomorrow, you're looking at a 28-17 win for the Auburn Tigers to open the SEC only schedule. Auburn's got to win this particular football game, especially going into Georgia the next week. 28-17 is my prediction. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.